Michelle Vallejo go to U.S. Congress to represent Texas. And I'm here also because, as we all know, this race is very, very close. I'm sure you heard about the poll that came out earlier this week. This race is officially in the dead heat, and the difference in votes can happen right here. So,
¡Vamos por 15!
You all know that Michelle made it out of the primary, out of the runoff by 30-something votes. So when I say that every single vote counts, I mean it. You all know that every single vote counts. So who here has already gone to early votes? That's actually really good. Who hasn't gone yet, but is going either today or before the end of early vote? All right. Who here is going to get 3 people that they know to make sure they go and early vote? All right, that's what it is. We're going to make sure that Michelle comes out on top. We got to make sure that we're out there talking to our friends and neighbors, that we're making calls, that we're knocking on doors. We're going to do anything that we have to do to make sure that Michelle wins. So thank you all so much for coming. We have a great lineup of speakers today. We're going to hear directly from the woman herself, Michelle Vallejo, but we also have a special guest, Senator Bernie Sanders. We're going to show him what we mean when we say Puro 956. We also have joining us, Juanita Valdez-Cox from LUPE is here. Are you all excited? This event is sponsored by a few groups, including Ground Game, Working Families, and the Texas AFL-CIO. So can we give our sponsors some love? Those groups and obviously the people that are here today for supporting our fight here in South Texas. It's really important to make sure that we're building winning coalitions. So I thank you all so much for being a part of that. And now it is my honor to introduce our first speaker. We have Juanita Valdez-Cox here with us. As you all know, she's someone that has been doing the work in the Rio Grande Valley for decades. She's been holding it down for immigrant communities, for farm workers, for the Rio Grande Valley in general. Juanita the executive director of LUPE Votes. She's been working for 4 decades, just working here in the community, making sure that we have a better standard of living in our home. She's been winning major victories. She's been fighting for a higher minimum wage for farm workers, for restrooms in the fields. She's been working, helping to bring hundreds of millions of dollars in disaster recovery for the valley. She's been winning drainage improvements in the colonias, and the final victory that she's going to have in these next few weeks is making sure that we get Michelle Vallejo to Congress. So much for us and for our people. So please welcome Juanita Valdez-Cox.
Sí se puede, sí se puede. Woo! Buenos días. Buenos días a todos. It's so amazing. Look at all this crowd. Thank you so much. Hey! Okay, gracias. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. Y muy buenos días a todos ustedes. I want to not only say thank you to Jessica, but recognize her also, because she was a pioneer who opened the doors. She is for progressive voices here in the region, and she will always be welcome in our home, in our area. A week ago, early votes started, and people have been going to the polls to elect Michelle Vallejo. And other officials will have the task of guiding our country forward. In the 4 years of Trump's presidency, they nearly destroyed our government. As they saw it, the only legitimate function of government to them is to protect the rich from the poor. We need Michelle in Congress to make sure that the true functions of government is to protect the poor from the rich and powerful. Vote for Michelle Vallejo. We need Vallejo to work for our pueblo, to protect us from the greedy corporation that never seem to get enough. Michelle needs every one of us to go vote. ¿Ya les preguntaron quién fue a votar? A ver, ¿quién fue a votar? That's awesome. And now we need to make sure that all that we know, all those that we know, toda su familia, para salir a votar. Porque ahorita ustedes no se crean de las mentiras que están viendo. So we need to make sure que caminen. ¿Quién ha caminado ya las calles para Michelle? Okay, pues miro muchos que todavía no. Okay, so necesitan que salir. We do not have the millions of dollars and that the other side has and that they're spending on all of the lies. Just remember, every time you hear a Republican ad, listen to their lies. Let them strengthen your resolve to push back with your vote for Michelle Vallejo. I want to point out some of the many lies that the Republicans are telling about the people of our region and our Democratic candidates. The Republicans want you to believe that the high gasoline prices are a result of the Biden policies. The truth is that those high prices are the result of the Russian war against the people of Ukraine and, most important, the greedy American oil companies they are raising prices of gasoline to make outrageous profits. I was just reading in the newspaper yesterday, 21 billion with a B was made by those greedy corporations that are the owners of the gas and oil get it right and make sure that we go out there and get people to understand and realize what those lies are and who is responsible for those lies. Republicans lie that the area is dangerous, that we're crime-ridden, but according to the McAllen mayor, a Republican, and McAllen police chief, the valley is among the safest regions, one of the six safest regions. All the Republicans are talking about is inflation, but they offer no solutions. Their ideas consist of cutting taxes for the rich, slicing Social Security for the elderly. Republicans fought against creating Social Security since the 1930s and Medicaid in the 1960s. So now they continue to promise to destroy both, but only if they win. Those are not the answers. Those are threats. Y para ganar y defender nuestro pueblo, necesitamos a Michelle Vallejo en el Congreso. If the House will ask us what would make this a better country, we would be happy to tell them. We need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. We need affordable health care, and we need to reform immigration. And I ask you, who stands in the way of blocking these important changes? And every turn, Republicans say, no, no, no. They are the problem. If we are ever to make progress on any of these issues, we must be determined to remove those who oppose our ideas from their positions and replace them with more enlightened Democrats like Michelle Vallejo. She is ready to take on the fight. But what is our responsibility? What is our commitment to this pueblo? What do we need to make sure that we not have all of this energy out on the streets, have all of this energies in taking people to the polls. That is the struggle and the work that we have before us. And it will not end until we have Congress and the White House on our side. That may take some time, yes. They may take some time, because it's not easy to go against all the outrageous lies. They have no tienen vergüenza. And so we need to make sure that we really, really work hard. That may take some time, but it started with Michelle Vallejo when she accepted the challenge and she made the commitment to represent nuestro pueblo. Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta taught us to fight for what is right and never surrender until the victory is won. ¿Estamos listos? Entonces, no esperar más, salir nuestra gente a votar. Recuerden, latinos, los insultos que nos echan a nuestro pueblo no se van a terminar hasta que el pueblo latino salga a votar. Que viva Michelle Vallejo, sí se puede. Y ahora tenemos una manera de terminar, para terminar todos con muchísimo ánimo, como están aquí, salir a votar. Mira, podemos estar aquí, podemos gritar, podemos estar bien entusiasmados, pero si no trabajamos para sacar el voto, vamos a quedar en lo mismo como estamos ahorita. Está terrible las mentiras de estos que siempre han estado en contra de nosotros. ¿Qué más necesitamos? Ya nada, ya lo vimos todo y necesitamos que animarnos y salir a votar. Así es que vamos a terminar con este aplauso organizado, compañero de LUPE.
Michelle Vallejo? Yes or no? Alright, so the most important thing you can do right now, of course, is go vote. The other thing that we need you to do is to make sure that you help us get out the vote. That's why we're having this rally, to make sure that people know, one, that there is a midterm election, two, that they need to go vote for Michelle Vallejo, and three, that early vote goes up until November 4th, and then election day is November 8th. So make sure that you are working with your friends and family to make sure that they have a plan to vote. Did you all know that you can go vote early? There's some people that are here. Okay, you can vote today. You can vote until 4 p.m. today, so if you haven't had a chance to do so, please do so today. There are 6 places here in McAllen that you can go vote. There's 30 places overall across Hidalgo County, so make sure that you ask any of the volunteers here if you need help finding your voting or a polling place. You can also go to votetexas.gov. That's something that we have, like a website ready handy if you talk to someone that they're like, hey, they come to you like, I need to find a polling location. How do I find one? You can send them to votetexas.gov to make sure that they make a plan to vote. So that's wonderful. That's great. We need that, but we also need more. When you decide to run for Congress, as Michelle has, as I have, as some of the organizers here that are helping us out today have, you think about the sacrifice that lies ahead, right? It's not all glitz and glamour, it's not all rallies, right? A lot of it has to do with, personal sacrifice, financial sacrifice, physical sacrifice, and we all have to put in our part to make sure that the candidates that inspire us and, that basically embody the values that we want to see thrive in our community, we all have to put in our part to make sure that they're going to get elected. Michelle has given, full sacrifice, right? Like she herself is the face of this campaign. But, from experience, she knows, I know, any candidate for any kind of office knows that as we get closer to election day, it's actually the people that are out there knocking on doors, doing the phone calls, doing the organizing that are the ones that are on the front lines. Just because, you're a volunteer or an organizer or, an assistant in a campaign, you are such a valuable piece to how we're going to bring transformative change to our home. I'm here because South Texas means a lot to me. I'm here because I know that our people are always seen as underdogs, right? Sometimes many times we don't get the investment that we should be getting, an investment that actually matches the talent and potential that we have here in our home. But one thing that we do have is that we are some scrappy people, I can tell you that. We always punch above our weight, we always rise up to the challenge. What Michelle is doing, what you all are doing right now, is rising up to that challenge. People count us out from the very beginning. I know I heard it when I decided to run back in 2020, and people were like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Michelle heard it 1,000 times herself. Why are you doing this? And now she is our Democratic nominee for Texas 15th Congressional District. But she didn't get here alone, right? It took a whole community. A lot of people say it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to elect a congressional candidate. And you all are literally a part of that village, right? Michelle has been successful out of every race that she's been in because she's not alone, because she has all of you all putting her over the top. The last one, 30 votes, you all put her over the top. Do I have 30 people here that voted for Michelle and they were not? You all literally elected Michelle Vallejo to be our Democratic nominee. And I mean, that's beautiful, right? It's inspiring to me, as a Latina as well, to see people like Michelle be successful, hopefully represent, our community of South Texas in Congress. It's important to have that too, because by electing Michelle, we're sending a message that we not only want candidates that are going to distinguished themselves by saying, I'm not right-wing, I'm not Republican, you should vote for me. But the fact that Michelle's getting elected because she is giving you something to vote for is powerful. The fact that you're voting for her because she's going to fight so that we can have health care, that she's going to fight for our reproductive freedom, that she's going to fight for an increase in the minimum wage to $15 per hour, that she's going to fight to protect our undocumented brothers and sisters, because we know that here in the Valley are very much a part of our families and our community. All those things that are important to you, Michelle has an alternative vision for what a better future for South Texas can be. And again, you're going to hear this a lot from me. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of that fight and for standing behind Michelle. So we're going to keep it moving. We have other speakers here. And our next speaker is someone who is obviously no stranger to community organizing. Greg Casar is here to support Michelle Vallejo. Greg is the Democratic nominee for Congress up north in Texas 35, which goes from San Antonio up to Austin. And like I said, he's here to help Michelle win. Greg is, was a city councilman for the city of Austin. He's been a champion for working people all across Texas. He's helping workers at places like Starbucks form their own union. And Greg has fought hard for a working immigrant community. He's been organizing cities like Austin to fight SB4 as well. And of course, the hateful attacks from the Republican Party. So now Greg is going to Congress and he's using his time and energy to make sure that we send Michelle Vallejo with him. So with that, let's welcome Greg Casar to the Valley.
¿Cómo estamos, South Texas? Before I get started, I just want to thank Jessica for your fight, for inspiring so much of us. Let's hear for Jessica Cisneros. Thank you for everything you do for us. I'm Greg Casar. I'm your progressive nominee headed to the United States Congress with Michelle Vallejo. With Michelle. And I want to thank each and every one of you here for your dedication and your organizing here in the RGV. We were not going to miss being with you here on this important day in this moment of truth. As Jessica mentioned, I was a city council member, but before that, a labor and immigrants' rights organizer between San Antonio and Austin, and we fought, important battles in this state. We fought against the folks you hear about. One, the mega corporations. Two, the far right-wing politicians. But we battled a third opponent that we don't talk about as much in the halls of power. And that third opponent was people's lost hope in the community that this democracy could ever deliver for us. The despair in the community saying, will those politicians ever actually deliver things for working people? And I can't blame people. We shouldn't blame people for feeling that way. How could we? During the pandemic, when we were losing jobs, people were losing their homes, many of us lost loved ones. A few billionaires made $2 trillion while working people got a rent increase. Now we can root for that. Of course, people could feel being left behind when they see on TV folks being corrupt, big money in our politics, when they saw far right-wing politicians like Governor Greg Abbott, who was supposed to take care of us. He was supposed to be our first responder. And how did he respond? He responded by banning books, by banning abortions, by picking on young kids and their families, by picking on the vulnerable, trying to turn us against one another. People like Ted Cruz got on the plane and went to the beach while folks froze and died. But the real heroes are the folks here in South Texas looking out for one another, delivering food, delivering blankets, giving away some of their hard-earned dollars so that their neighbors could pay the rent. We are the real Texas. This is what we're going to do. nothing ever changes. They want us to feel like we're powerless, but they are wrong. The status quo wants us to think that nothing ever changes. But it's time to no longer talk about what we can't do and get to work on what we must do here in the RGP. And what we must do is elect leaders that will stand by working people and raise the minimum wage at least to $15 an hour or to a union wage for every single person. What we must do is elect leaders that will fight against and overturn Citizens United and get big money out of politics. What we must do is elect leaders who are going to stand side by side with working people and not just change this from a state just that is run by Republicans to Democrats, but change this from a state that works for the billionaire class to one that works for working class people. What we must do is elect Michelle Vallejo to the United States Congress. And what is so beautiful about being here with you all tonight is that it's clear that it is not just about me, it is not just about Michelle, it's not just about Big Bernie being here, even though it's awesome that we have Bernie. But it's about all of us. It's about this movement. It's about something much bigger than any one given election cycle. What y'all are doing here is building the people power kinds of campaigns that can re-inspire this community and turn us from a red state to an organized state, from a corporate-run state to a state that works for a corporate. That's what y'all are doing here. That's what we have to be committed to. And you have an incredible candidate in Michelle. No one can question her authenticity. Just like no one can question Bernie Sanders' authenticity. Nobody can question who we're here to fight for. Nobody can meet Michelle and say she's accountable to anyone except for our candidate. That's who Michelle is. Y'all are building a new future for this part of the state. That means you're building a new future for all of Texas. And when we change Texas, we change the trajectory of this country. That has to happen here. And as somebody that organizes and represents San Antonio and Austin, I want to tell y'all, Democrats in our part of the state have not done enough to take care of people down here. We are coming to help down here and make up for what has happened in the past. We can never fully make up for it, but we have to do it going forward. And it's something that not one candidate does. There is no savior. It's not something we do top down. It's something we do juntos, exactly in places like this. So as a young person, the young folks here in the crowd, Michelle being a young person, I'm just so humbled and grateful that y'all are lifting up new young leaders to bring that inspiration to the people and shatter that despair, that third opponent. That's how we beat the mega corporations. That's how we beat the far right wing. That's how I get to go to Congress, not by myself, but with all of you guys and my very friend, your next speaker, your next congresista aquí del pueblo del 15 Distrito de Texas, Michelle Vallejo.
Hello, everybody. I am Michelle Vallejo, and I'm the Democratic nominee for Texas District 15 because you brought me here. I love y'all so much. Look at you. So many beautiful, powerful people in this room, and this is exactly how we're going to win, because we're going to take this energy and this love for our home to the polls. So thank you so much for everything you've done, and we're going to keep going. I was nominated by my community to jump into this race and to fight back, because we are so deserving and we are powerful, and this is us claiming our power, standing up for ourselves, standing up for our home, because ya fue justo. It's time for our people to have all the power in Congress.
¡Vamos por 15!
I am a proud daughter of immigrants. And I will fight for every single person in this district the same way I fight for my family. People who I love, people who I adore. And I see you all as my family. And we're going to continue in this fight together. Because juntos vamos a ganar. So I am ready to fight for Medicare for all because our families should not be forced to go to Mexico to get the medical care that we deserve. I am ready to fight for our home, to have good paying union jobs in our district. No one should be leaving our home in order to make ends meet and in order to get paid well, to get food on the table. That's not justice. And now more than ever, South Texas needs a champion to stand up for women's right to choose and for the dignity. Now the reality of this race is that my opponent is an extremist who is out only for herself. She hides away from our community and doesn't show up for a debate because she cannot stand by her extreme positions nor her platform, because to this day I still don't understand what it is myself. She supports banning abortion even in the case of rape and incest. And she supports policies that will cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and I will not stand for that. We love our abuelitos, and we will fight every single day for them to have a dignified life every single day of their life. No matter what people outside of South Texas want to think or claim that we don't have this win, I know that we are on our path to victory, and we're going to win this race on November 8th. My team, all of the volunteers, everybody who's put any effort behind this campaign has been working tirelessly in defending our home. And this is how we're going to show the entire country que nosotros en el sur de Texas no nos dejamos. Luchamos. This is not any ordinary campaign. This is an effort. This is a movement. This is love from our own community to fight back and to stand up for what's right. And we're going to keep doing it every second of the way con orgullo, con felicidad, y con mucho, mucho ánimo. Woo! And Greg is right. When I win this race, there will not just be me going to Congress, it's going to be all of us. And that's what we're scared of. I don't go alone anywhere because you carry me to the places that I have reached, and that's how we're going to win this race. That's how we're going to show up in the halls of Congress. And I told people, get ready, because there's going to be a wave of people coming from South Texas when I get sworn in. Thank you so much for joining me. I feel so loved. I feel so motivated and encouraged to keep fighting. I have not felt tired for one single day on this race. Not one. Because this is the energy that carries me to new heights. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has been fighting for the working people, who has created a national platform for the people to have more power. Please welcome Senator Bernie Sanders.
As a United States Senator, I can tell you we need Michelle in Congress. Please make sure she gets there. Look, here is the story, and it's not complicated. What politics is all about is which side are you on? You could be on the side of billionaires who want more tax breaks, or you could be on the side of working people who want a decent life. And that's what this campaign here is about and what it's about nationally. Now, whether you live in Vermont, and I'm going to be back in Vermont tonight with my heavy coat on, or whether you live in McAllen, in many ways the issues are exactly the same. What are the issues? The issues are if you work 40 hours a week, you deserve a living wage, raise the minimum wage. The issue is if you are a worker who wants to join a union, you should be able to do so. And I'll tell you what the other issue is here, and that is that health care is a human right, not a privilege. Brothers and sisters, all over the world, health care is considered a right guaranteed to all people. And yet in the United States, we spend twice as much per person on health care, and we have 85 million Americans, including many in this room, who are uninsured or underinsured. The function of health care is not to provide billions in profits for the insurance companies. It's to guarantee health care to all people. It is not a radical idea, and I want you all to understand it. I live 60 miles away from the Canadian border. Canada, you end up in the hospital for 3 weeks with a major operation. You know what the bill is when you leave? Zero. You go to the doctor, you don't have to take out your wallet. Healthcare is available to all. That is the case in many countries all over the world. We are the wealthiest country in the history of the world. If other countries can guarantee healthcare to all people, so can the United States. Let's do it. But it is not just healthcare. It is the high cost of prescription drugs. You got a pharmaceutical industry that is ripping off the American people, charging us, in some cases, 10 times more for the medicine that we need. Michelle is going to join me and have the guts to take on the greed on the drug companies and lower prescription drug costs. Then there is this issue of education. Let me say a word on this. We live, as all of you know, in a very competitive global economy. That's the fact. Now, 30 or 40 years ago when I was a kid, if you had a high school degree, that was good enough. You can go out and get yourself a decent job, you can make it to the middle class. In many cases, that is not the reality today. Our people need a higher education in order to deal with the advanced technology that is taking place. In America today, we got hundreds of thousands of bright young people who want to get a higher education. They want to go to a trade school. They want to advance themselves to make it into the middle class, but they're scared to death when they leave school, they'll be $50,000 in debt. That is not what America is supposed to be about. I grew up in a family that had no money. I lived in a rent-controlled apartment. And back then, believe it or not, there were public colleges and universities that were tuition-free, some of the best in America. If 50 years ago we could have public colleges and universities tuition-free, we can do it today, and that's what Michelle believes and what I believe. Let me say a word about another issue that is a terrible issue, and nobody has a magic solution to it. What the scientists tell us, and you know this right down here, is that we do not get a handle on climate change. The planet, the country, the state that your kids and your grandchildren will be living in will become increasingly unhealthy and uninhabitable. There will be more drought, more flooding, more extreme weather disturbances, more migration, because people all over the world are not going to have clean water to drink. They're not going to be able to grow their crops. They're going to be dealing with drought. We have a moral responsibility to transform our energy system. And when we do that, we create millions of good-paying jobs as we save the planet. And there's another issue out there which maybe is the most important of many other issues. And that is, we have right-wing extremists in this country led by Donald Trump who are trying to undermine American democracy. Now, here in Texas and in my state of Vermont, we have thousands and thousands of men and women who put their lives on the line, sometimes die, to say that America will remain a democracy, not an authoritarian society. We will not allow Trump and his friends to undermine that democracy. Now, I don't have to tell anybody here the nature of the economy in America today. You got two different economies. On one hand, you have the people on top who have never done better in the history of America. We now have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had. 3 people in America now own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Can you believe that? During this terrible pandemic, which has taken over 1 million lives in our country, millions and millions of people got sick. Tens of thousands of workers died because they had to go to work. They didn't have a choice about whether they would sit home in their office with their fancy computer. They had to go into a hospital. We lost 5,000 nurses. They had to work in a warehouse. They had to work in a meat packing plant. They had to work with people who were next to them. Tens of thousands died because they didn't have any choice, but they had to feed their families. And at the same time as workers died, the billionaire class saw a $2 trillion increase in their wealth. If you are a worker in America today for a large corporation, know that the CEO of that corporation is earning 400 times what the worker is earning. And as a result of inflation, many working people are falling further and further behind. And I want to say a word about this inflation, because Republicans are going around and they're saying inflation is a serious problem. It is. A lot of people are hurting. Gas prices, food prices, drug prices, whatever it may be. What they don't tell you is what the causes of inflation are. They want to blame Joe Biden, they want to blame Bernie Sanders for inflation. Well, we have got to explain basic economics 101 to them. And that is, inflation is not not just an American issue. In the United Kingdom, inflation is 10%, 2 points higher than it is in America. In Europe, it's 11%, we're at 8%. The causes of inflation are the pandemic and the breakdown of supply chain, raised prices. The causes of inflation are the terrible, terrible war, Russian invasion of Ukraine and all that that has done. But there is another cause of inflation which Republicans in a million years will never talk about. And the major cause of inflation today, the reason why prices at the gas pump, in the grocery store are soaring, is because of corporate greed. If you want to know why you're paying high prices at the gas pump, ask ExxonMobil, who are enjoying record-breaking profits right now. If you want to know why food prices are high, ask the major food companies who have jacked up their prices to unconscionable levels. Same thing with the pharmaceutical industry. So take a deep breath and think about the morality of the issue. We live in a moment, because of this pandemic, a lot of instability in the country, a lot of uncertainty. People are hurting. You got the war in Ukraine, you got the breakdown of supply chains, and what corporate America is saying, not how can we help working people? How can we lower prices in this country to make things more affordable? What they are saying, the guy from ExxonMobil is pretty honest about it, this is an opportunity to raise prices as high as we can. And what we say is that is immoral, it is wrong, and that is why we are going to impose a windfall profits tax on those companies. I want to say this as well. Republicans go around and they're saying the cause of inflation is the large amount of federal spending with the American Rescue Plan. And as the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, I helped write that bill. So I know a little bit about it. Now, I want you all to think back 2 years ago. We were a country without vaccines. Thousands of people every day were dying. People by the millions were losing their jobs. Remember that? And what the President of the United States and what Congress did without one Republican vote is what we said is, you know what? When working people are struggling, when hunger in America is on the rise, when people are worried about being evicted from their apartments because they can't afford to pay the rent, you know what? Yes. We will provide $1,400 for every man, woman, and child in this country. And I don't apologize for that. And not one Republican voted for that. And when millions of people, because of the pandemic, lost their jobs, remember that? Unemployment went off the charts. We said, yes, we're going to extend unemployment benefits. And when working moms and dads were unable to provide for their kids, we said, yes, we're going to provide a $300 a month child tax credit for every child in America. And when some hospitals in America were on the verge of collapse because so many COVID patients were entering and their doctors were getting sick and their nurses were getting sick, we said, yes, we're going to spend billions to help hospitals care for sick patients. And we're going to help universities and public school systems survive the pandemic. So I apologize to no one. That's what a government does. That is what a government does in a democratic society. When people are hurting, the government says, we are in this together. And the president and Congress did the right thing without one Republican vote. Now, that was an expensive bill. I don't deny it. It was $1.9 trillion. That's a lot of money. But let me tell you what the Republicans have in mind, because their vision is a little bit different. They don't want to help working parents. They don't want to make it easier for kids to go to college. They don't want to guarantee health care to all people. They got a different plan. And their plan is to repeal the estate tax, which applies to the top 0.1%. It would give a $60 billion tax break to Elon Musk's family. And in order to pay for this $1.5 trillion tax break, they want to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So our proposal, Michelle's proposal, is we say that at a time of massive income and wealth inequality, where the billionaires are doing better and better, they got more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes. They got so much money, they're literally buying rocket ships to go to the moon. And what Republicans want to do is give those greedy bastards tax breaks. Well, we don't agree with that. We think that the rich should start paying their fair share of taxes. And we should use that money to improve life for working families all over this country. Now, right now, as you know, in the Senate, it's a 50-50 tie. Democrats control because of the vice president. In the House, Democrats have a very small majority. The vote right here in this district could determine which party controls the U.S. House of Representatives. And I think the choice is clear. The choice is whether we give more tax breaks to billionaires and cut Social Security, Medicaid, education, and other needed programs, or whether we stand up for the working class of this country. Michelle Vallejo is on the right side. So brothers and sisters, in the next week or so, please do everything you can, not only make sure that you all vote, bring out your friends and your relatives and your uncles and your aunts and everybody else, bring them out. This could be a very, very close election. We desperately need Michelle in the Congress. Let's go out, let's do it, let's win this thing. Thank you all very much.